Hello everyone, welcome back to Recovery Lab TV. If it's your first time here and you haven't already, hit that subscribe button because it means the world to me. It's great to have you on board and become a part of this channel. I love the community that I already have and I want it to grow so we can love and support each other. If you can, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and say hello in the comment section. If you have any questions throughout this video, just pop them in the comment section, and I will answer them truthfully, honestly, and as best as I can, okay? This video is a kind of a story into my life, into why I got into triathlon in the first place, why IRONMAN in the first place, and my journey so far. Some of the things that I've kind of done, the things that I've achieved, and my kind of journey to date, if you will, leading into this next adventure. I thought it'd be important to give you a little bit of a context video about who I am and kind of what I'm about, and hopefully this video will do just that. Okay, so I hope you enjoy it, and like I said, subscribe if you haven't already. Okay, and thanks for watching so far. So my journey started, for example, this past September we celebrated Ironman Wales' 10th year anniversary. That should have happened 2 years prior because of the pandemic. It kind of got pushed back, but 10 years prior to that, I was visiting family in Tenby and in Saundersfoot, and we decided to go into Tenby town. Now, I didn't know what Ironman was at the time. I certainly didn't know anything about triathlon, and as I kind of went to the town to meet my family in a local coffee shop, the marathon portion of the race was happening. Now, this was completely small at this point in time. Like, Ironman was certainly wasn't what it was back then, and the following in Wales, let alone Britain, wasn't as big as it is today. So I had no clue what Ironman was, and as I walked up into Tenby town, I just said out loud, what the hell is this, you know? And this guy up against the barriers kind of said to me at the time, he's like, oh, this is Ironman Wales, you know? And I was like, what the hell is an Ironman? And he then went on to tell me the distances, the fact that the swim is 2.4 miles, the bike ride is 112, and then they do a full marathon at the end of it. And there in front of me was the tallest man I've ever seen, the biggest, broadest man. The guy was just a giant, an absolute bear of a man, and right next to him, running behind him and soon overtaking him, was this kind of little old lady who just happened to be the oldest lady on that course. I went up to her afterwards and spoke to her. And she was 74. Now, this guy looked absolutely massive. He looked overweight, and he looked like, and it sounds awful, but back then I was completely naive, completely unfair in my judgment, but judged both of them going, well, what, they're doing this, you know? This sounded absolutely impossible. This sounded like this absolute mountain of an event, and there I was, literally just on face value, judging like most of us do, soon to be proven wrong by both of them, as I kind of celebrated them coming across the finish line like it was my own race. Now, that kind of transported me into wanting to know everything about Ironman. Just watching that event and kind of being inspired by those people and hundreds of others made me want to do Ironman. Now, fast forward a couple of weeks, I had just started university, and I was sat in a lecture theatre And my university lecturer said to all of us, but I took it very directly, because of certain circumstances that I was going through at the time as well, that he was speaking to me. But he said, what type of coach do you want to be? Do you want to be a coach that walks the walk or talks the talk? And for me, it was like, well, I want to encompass both. You know, I want to be about that lifestyle. I want to be about everything I kind of speak about. I want to practice what I preach, basically. And at that time, I was going through basically a transition, if you will, from having this kind of victim's mentality in regards to kind of trauma I carried on from my childhood, into becoming a better human being, you know, a good role model for my daughter at the time, and a good kind of role model and partner for my partner. Now, as I kind of started that, hearing that lecturer say those things kind of really resonated with me, and has kind of stuck with me 15 years later, you know. And I was currently working in Cardiff International Pool down Cardiff Bay in Wales, and I had literally this one guy come up to me, and we used to offer a kind of free program service at the time, and he was training for Cardiff Triathlon, which is a sprint and an Olympic distance triathlon, and he said, right, could you write me a program for it? You know, I'm brand new to triathlon, I know nothing about it, and I'd love your help. Now, I wrote this guy's program for several programs before it, but it was all strength training. And at the time, all I did was go to the gym a couple times a week, you know, most days. And I was relatively fit, but I was kind of gym fit, if you will, active, but by no means had any kind of goals or aspirations physically at this point in time. So I said to this client of mine, I said, I'll be honest with you, I know nothing about triathlon, but if you give me 2 weeks, I'll buy a couple of books, and I'll read it, and I'll write you a program, and I'll get back to you. So I did, and within several days, I had maybe 4, 5, maybe 6 people come up to me asking for triathlon plans. And then in that same space, within that 2-week period, I went to Ironman Wales and saw what I saw, and then came home and YouTubed and watched every single video that I could possibly watch. I absolutely obsessed over it on my iPad. So all of a sudden I was like fully submerged into the goal of going, right, this is going to be the thing that allows me this sink or swim kind of test, this pass or fail, and this opportunity to prove to myself and others that I can be the coach that does exactly what he says he's going to do and practices what he preaches, you know. So that kind of set me on my way to becoming an Ironman. Now, at the time, I was extremely poor. We were on kind of benefits, if you will, and I had, like I said, my first child, and we were living in rented accommodation. We were really young at the time. We were literally, I was 21, and I was kind of going back into education. So the time that I actually got to becoming an Ironman was many years later, and that was because by poor, I was really poor. So I wasn't able to buy myself a bike until 2015, when I bought my bike on kind of finance, and ended up paying it off for 4 years just to be able to afford it. At that time I kind of said to myself that I couldn't commit to such a big thing and paying for that until I kind of got engaged to my partner. So prioritised getting a ring for her first, and then prioritised kind of getting the job done and kind of doing that. So I slowly introduced triathlon training into my life, and used the university resources to educate myself on triathlon, and started coaching triathlon and doing my coaching qualifications alongside my degree and my personal training. This kind of allowed me to kind of tap into the world a little, but because of my schedule doing university, being a family man, and working full time, it kind of left me the inability to kind of join any sort of triathlon club or be a part of any club that is kind of out there, if you will. So I tried to push, and later did, pre-COVID, create a triathlon club. Now, I ended up doing my first Ironman in 2016. It was Ironman Wales, because I wanted it to be my local Ironman, which is, I'm Welsh, so it was always going to be Wales. And in the build-up of that, it was like any kind of build-up to an Ironman. It was incredibly tough, incredibly challenging, and the biggest thing that I'd ever done at this point. Now, for me, it was not only this kind of physical goal, but it was everything. You know, I was basing it on who I was and who I am, and I still do this to this day, with all of my challenges, to be honest. And I was kind of going through a kind of a growth change, if you will, like most people who do Ironman or look to do Ironman. So at the time, podcast wasn't really a thing, or I wasn't really aware of them. So I kind of downloaded several motivational videos off YouTube and put them onto my little iPod Nano. So when I was teaching spin, for example, I'd have several spin playlists. When I was doing kind of any sort of gym class or kind of circuit-based class, I had circuit-based playlists. And then for the rest of the time, I had this motivational playlist, which had about 6 videos on there, but they were anything from kind of 20 minutes to an hour, maybe 90 minutes long, where I would listen to typical YouTube video, motivational videos, you know. Now, for me, I kind of did this when I walked to work. I did this when I trained, and I was kind of trying to reprogram my mind, if you will, from thinking like this negative person that was kind of a victim of life and a victim of circumstance, and really try to reprogram my mind into this thinking that anything is possible, and I told myself there and then, kind of the moment I cross this finish line is the moment I'm telling myself that I can do anything in the world. And I truly believed that, and I kind of truly meant that to myself, and made the goal as big as it needed to be, and I put and attached every sort of motivation and kind of driving force, if you will, onto this goal, like doing it. So if I do this race, then I can be a better father, be a better partner, that I can bring greater business into my coaching business, that I can practice what I preach, that I can lead by example, you name it. I added it onto the Ironman kind of bandwagon, and attached it to that goal and to that dream. Now, building up towards my race, kind of maybe 12 weeks out, I had a swim incident where I was doing my kind of first open water swim down West Wales, funny enough, in kind of Amroth, which is a couple bays over from the kind of Ironman swim where North Beach is. And we were down there with some friends, and I kind of got in the water. Now at the time I was really good in the pool. I was swimming Ironman distance pretty much every swim, and kind of got in the sea. And little did I know at the time how psychologically different sea swimming is compared to swimming in the pool, how confident I was in that water, and then all of a sudden that confidence just disappeared and left me as a kind of a shell of a man, if you will. And as I was swimming, this kind of tiny tiny little stick kind of was bobbing along and touched, like I touched it or it touched me, and it scared the life out of me. I ended up having a bit of a panic attack because I wasn't sure what touched me initially. Then I kind of tried laughing it off that it was this stick, and then my kind of head started going into the idea of, well, what else is in the water, you know? And this is a common fear with lots and lots of people that I've kind of worked with and so on, but at the time I had no one to work with and no one to really talk to because I didn't know anyone in kind of the triathlon scene. So it kind of really freaked me out. I ended up swimming 500 meters. It was much tougher than I thought it would be based on all the training that I've been doing, and it kind of really shook me up in regards to how am I meant to do this triathlon. So I ended up kind of swimming where I swim now. For those who have already followed the channel will know I swim in Whitmore Bay, which is down Barry Island. If you know Whitmore Bay, it's got the second fastest tidal current in the world. So it's a really strong current. Now at the time I didn't know any of this. And I didn't know the nice quiet bay next door, which was Jackson's Bay, because I didn't really know anyone or had any guidance towards these things. So I swam in Whitmore Bay. I bought myself a zone-free inflatable float. I attached it to me, my partner and kids. I have 3 kids now. So my partner and kids would come down with me and sit in the cafe and watch me from the cafe windows. It made my partner feel safer, that I was safe, but in reality she would never have got to me in time. But it kind of made both of us feel a little safer about the situation. And I swam in there for an hour at a time, and I ended up doing that 3 hours a week, or as much as I possibly could. To give me that confidence. And that water was incredibly tough, and if you swim there now you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Now a couple of weeks later, unfortunately, I was on a 4-hour training ride, and I was planning on training one of my clients up in Rada, which is one of the local places around Cardiff, and 2 hours in, it was meant to be a 2 hours out and back, and then stopping off at my client's house and training there shortly after. Now 2 hours into the ride, coming up to a roundabout, unfortunately I was hit by a car. That kind of ruined my day and kind of really messed me up for a bit. It kind of herniated a disc in my lower back, in my lumbar spine. I had a lot of road rash. I took half the skin off my hands, kind of coming across here on both sides. I've got a lot of scarring on my right knee. I had a grade 2 tear on my LCL on my right knee, which took a really long time to heal because of the lack of knowledge really by myself at this point. And kind of like most of us, when we're doing this goal, we kind of put the goal in front of our recovery and do enough to get the job done. But in hindsight, it kind of put an extra year on recovery before I was completely better. Now, I ended up kind of having a small grade tear in my teres major and minor in the back of my shoulder blade, kind of towards the back of the armpit. Had all this road rash coming all down my side, and kind of tore through my cycling shorts and jersey, and I was then kind of put in hospital for just under 2 weeks. Now, for that, it kind of left me kind of completely deflated, left me completely kind of just depressed, to be honest. My partner at the time, after coming home, because they couldn't do anything more than me to me at the hospital, then just kind of medicate me up in regards to painkillers. I was laying on the sofa, and my feet was up in a box position with the cushions underneath me, because that was the only comfortable position that wasn't painful. And I'm there kind of feeling really sorry for myself, and my partner asked me a question, and she kind of was kind of fed up of me kind of moping, really, in the nicest sense, and just said to me, like, well, if this was one of your clients, what would you do? You know, how would you handle this situation? And didn't even wait for me to respond to that. Just kind of walked back in the kitchen and continued doing the dishes. I took it very literal, that I knew exactly what she was saying and what she was coming, where she was coming from, and to which my back was incredibly stiff, and I needed to massage those and kind of remove that stiffness. I needed to start adding more mobility into my body, because it had gone very protective, and it took me 20 minutes to get off that sofa and start kind of foam rolling and stretching. Now, I did so whilst crying to myself, fully painkillered up, and I set my alarm for every hour whilst I was awake, and I did it on the hour, every hour, and slowly kind of went back to work, if you will. That kind of allowed me, from then on, what I had to do was change my training drastically. I was no longer able to do any kind of long rides, if you will, anything over 2 hours. The left side of my back would kind of go into spasm, and I'd get this massive shooting pain, literally kind of mid-lumbar spine, and if I kind of pushed it any longer, it would shoot up right up to the back of my head. So I'd have to do lots of 2-hour rides in the week, and then also at the time I wasn't able to run, so I had to use the cross trainer or the elliptical, depending on what you want to call it, because of the impact. Every time I flicked up my right leg, I had this massive shooting pain. It felt like kind of a knife was going inside of my knee, and I was doing a lot of rehab to kind of go with it, in regards to kind of working on my shoulder stability, working on my knee stability, and to kind of correct myself as best as I could. I became this kind of rehab guru, if you will, in my gym, and which is why I've also called my company Recovery Lab, because it was the same year that I did this that I also launched Recovery Lab. Now, 10 weeks later at this point, I kind of went into Ironman, and for me it was a do or die kind of race. There was no failing, there was no any of that. At this point in time, I had obsessively listened to all of these motivational podcasts, to the point where it was literally just on repeat, and kind of brainwashed my mindset into thinking that I am capable of anything, and that I can kind of literally do anything and kind of go out there and make it happen. To which I kind of went out and I did. You know, did the swim in 1 hour 15. I got off the bike and I think in about 6.5 hours, and then I kind of went on to the marathon, to which I soon learned after the first lap that my knee was absolutely killing. It then became a kind of run, walk, and a matter of survival. And the moment I saw my partner by the church in the centre of Tenby Village, I kind of almost burst into tears, because I was so overwhelmed with my knee and so overwhelmed with the situation. And she literally turned around and did exactly what I needed her to do. She shouted at me, she got aggressive, and she said, basically in the nicest, kindest way, don't you dare stop, don't you dare quit, you keep running. Because she knew if I stopped there and then and gave her a hug and so on, it would have been incredibly hard for me to carry on and run past her. So she told me exactly what I needed to hear at that point, and I ran past, and my kids were there, and my best friend was there, and some other people were there supporting, and I kind of carried on with the run, and ended up completing it in I think 14 hours and 11 minutes. Now that literally did exactly that, you know. It allowed me and gave me permission in my life at that point to believe anything is possible, and I still believe that to this day. Since then, I have gone on to do several other Ironman. I've done multiple half Ironman, and it allowed me the opportunity to kind of find more of myself, which is more probably the best thing that I've kind of ever done, to be honest. So in going down that route and down that kind of journey, I took it on a real personal mission to find more of myself, to better myself, to kind of heal myself from past events and from kind of traumas that I've experienced, and in a way kind of break the kind of generational cycle that we kind of typically go through, that we don't really heal ourselves. We then pass our traumas on to our kids, onto those around us and those that we love. And I kind of really didn't want to do that. I really wanted to kind of break away from that. I wanted to set a better example to my family, my loved ones, my friends, those around me, those I coach, you know. So for me, it was really an experience and a way to kind of find more of myself and really tap into who I am as an individual, and who I really want to be. So since then, I've kind of gone on this journey where I book races, I do challenges, I set myself these goals, because I really want to dive into and really concrete the person that I want to be, and in a lot of ways chasing a 10-year better self. Now, I know I'm never going to become this person. However, I'm going to be a better version than I was yesterday, you know. And for me, it's kind of always chasing a 10-year better self, and having that person that you're kind of looking up to, and aspiring to be more like. And I pick characters, I pick people out there that motivate me, that drive me, that inspire me, and I don't particularly want to be that person. I just want their characteristics, in the sense of if they're more dedicated, then I want to be more dedicated. If they're more loving and nurturing, then I want to be more loving and nurturing. If they're really good listeners and they're really empathetic, then I want to have those traits. And for me, it's about being the best person that I can be. It's about taking those things and being able to inspire others. That is really important to me. And also kind of, for me, one of my life goals is how can I help others? You know, I really want to make a difference. I kind of want to be the difference, in the sense that, for example, the people I coach, I don't want to just get them to a race line and across a finish line. I want to have a meaningful part in their journey, and that by no means means that I kind of want to take their achievement from them. If anything, it's quite the opposite. But I do want to maximize the potential that I can help them, you know, and whether that means help them physically and improve their performance, or whether that helps them mentally and allows them to become a better human being off the back of working with me, as well as completing a goal, then I really do mean that, and I really do want to be that difference in their lives, and hopefully that I am doing that with the athletes that I coach and the people that I interact with. So for me, since then, I've kind of tapped into several other races. I've done Ironman Weymouth, recently done Swansea. I've done Long Course Weekend, which is an Ironman over 3 days. I've done ultramarathons, which for me really kind of tap into my mindset, because for me, I feel very confident swimming. For me, the water is my happy place, and it's where I feel most at home. It's where I feel in a way a kind of like a spiritual connection with my environment, and to a higher purpose, and a higher kind of a sense of spirituality, if you will. Now, cycling again, what was really interesting last year, I took a team of a charity, a team of athletes, and we cycled the joggle, so from John O'Groats to Land's End, in 8 days, which was covering over 100 miles a day. I think the longest day was about 126 or 128, with the biggest elevations being just under 8,000 meters, I think it was, kind of down in Devon and Cornwall. And it was interesting because I was going to use that experience to find out that would I have the same problems with running as cycling, because I'd never done a multiple day endurance event before, but I kind of never experienced it. So for me, swimming and cycling I can do all day, every day, and just enjoy it and just endure it. For running, I have this little voice in the back of my head that kind of puts me down, that doubts me, that brings on this kind of insecurity that I can't do what I need to do, and that I kind of want to do. And me and this person kind of go to war, if you will, every single challenge that I do, and every kind of endurance event that I kind of put myself through, which is why most of my challenges tend to be running. I love doing triathlon, and those are kind of the fun things for me, but I make sure that I kind of either set myself personal challenges, or kind of running races in the season that kind of really kick my ass and force me to go inward, if you will. For example, a couple of years back when the pandemic started, I kind of raised money for the NHS, charities together, and did it because one, I had a load of medical clients at the time who were feeling very kind of vulnerable, very kind of lonely in work, and it was a way for me to show that there was someone out there that cared for them, cared for their well-being, and was thinking of them. So that month, the month of May, I ended up going online, seeing that there was a running record for the most half marathons within a month, and at the time it was set by this guy who had run 16 half marathons. So I decided to run one every day. It was 31 days in that month. So I was like, right, I'm going to run 31. So I got up every morning, I went out and I ran, and in the end, last week I ran one a day and ended up running 36 half marathons that month and breaking that record whilst raising just over £3,000 for the charity, and showing that my clients that there was people like myself out there thinking of them, grateful that they were keeping us safe, and that kind of that cared, you know. Every year I pick a new challenge, I pick a new charity. The first year I did Ironman, I raised money for Macmillan and raised just over £4,000 doing my first Ironman. And literally every year, including this year, I pick a new charity and I try my best to raise money for them and do some good in the world. This year is going to be my biggest to date, where I take on all of the Ironmans in the UK and Ireland. So if you haven't seen already, that's Staffordshire, which is going to be soon. It's then Bolton, then we go into Swansea, then we go into Cork half, followed by Cork full the following day, then Wales a couple of weeks later, and then Weymouth. It's 7 events. I've never done anything like this before. Like I said, it's taken me a while to do a lot of the things I've done because of financial situations. However, this year I've kind of been really lucky and really grateful with the work I've been able to do, and the opportunities that I've been luckily graced with, to be able to put myself in a situation where I'm able to do this event, these events. Now, with a lot of the work I've been doing and the people that I look towards inspiration, I'm raising money for a charity called Rock to Recovery. They do a lot of work for the military in regards to mental health, and they also do a lot of work with emergency services personnel, which I used to be a part of the 999 community, working with South Wales Police a couple of years back. Now, for me, I think it's incredibly important to look after these communities because they're the ones that look after us when we're in trouble. So I think it's really, really important to give back to these communities. I want them to know that there are random people out there like me, looking after them or thinking of them or grateful that they're doing the work that they do, because it is quite often these unsung heroes that are the ones putting their lives on the line, putting themselves on the line, putting their mental health on the line, to keep us safe and to protect our well-being, our safety and our possessions, so we can go about our daily lives, you know. So it's really important for me to raise as much awareness for them, raise as much funds for them. So if you'd like to donate, the link is in my bio and it will be in the description for this video. And yeah, it's another beautiful charity that I want to help. It's the way I see it is, I was going to be doing these events anyway for my own selfish reasons, but it's a way to kind of put the emphasis onto others and to kind of pay it forward, you know, so others can benefit off the back of my own kind of ambitions, if you will. Throughout this year I'm going to be kind of vlogging my experiences via the YouTube channel, so by all means check it out. I'm going to be as open and honest as I possibly can. with all of my experiences. What you'll find with me is I try and be as open as I can, because I think it sets the scene for those around me to show their vulnerability, because I think ultimately it's a superpower within all of us, but it's something that we kind of shy away from, and it kind of needs to be brought out and put on the table, if you will. Now, by all means, am I not the fastest triathlete or athlete? I have my own business. My partner is a midwife, and I'm a full-time dad to 3 beautiful kids. So I put them all first, and then I put my training. Yes, I will be doing as much training as I possibly can, but will I be breaking any records in regards to kind of speed? Probably not. So be aware and be kind in the comments, if you will, but I will be sharing all my kind of data or anything that you kind of want me to share, if you will. So please mention in the comment section kind of any questions you have, any comments that you have, or any things that you kind of may or may not find interesting. Chuck them there, I'll respond to them, all of them, and I'll also make more videos depending on what you kind of want to watch. You know, this channel for me is again a nice little 10-year plan. I don't expect anything to go viral, but my way of seeing this channel is having a cool video diary of myself. So when I'm old and grey and I'm able to look back on my life, I can just pop up onto my YouTube channel and see these amazing adventures that I've been on. So I fully welcome you all onto this amazing journey with me. So become a part of the community and subscribe. I also want to help you guys out, so please ask questions. If you don't want to ask questions on the YouTube channel, you want to do it a little bit more privately, then by all means send me a message over on Instagram, and I'll get back to you over there. And if you need any kind of help with your training, by all means, I'm happy to ask any questions and kind of do any research for you if you need it, okay? Otherwise, just a shortish video, just to kind of introduce myself. There's lots of chunks that I've kind of naturally missed, just to kind of condense the video, but if you'd like to know more, then by all means let me know and I will add more in. Okay, but other than that, have an amazing day. I hope you enjoyed the video. Take care, please subscribe, it does help grow this channel. Like most of us, we're trying to get to that all elusive 1,000 subscribers, so YouTube can take an interest in us. But yeah, have an amazing day. Hope to see you soon, and hope you enjoyed the video. Take care.